Welcome to the squad. I'm Puma. This is Icewater. And do us a favor, like, share, subscribe to our channel right here on Chocolate 108.1 WYDL. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs and Black Monday. 6 teams need new coaches so far. Also, we're going to talk college football playoffs heating up, and it was a barn burner last week. We're going to talk some college basketball, some NBA. What's on your mind, son? And then we're going to give you our last second shot. But NFL was really, really, really weird this year. Really weird this year. And I'd like to congratulate Southside Al and Baller for winning the NFL picks this year. They both tied. I think they have 172 victories. And I mean, it was close because I was 2 behind. You were 1 behind. So it was close. Congratulate those guys. But what stood out last Sunday with all those games going on? I know you're going to talk about the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game because I needed that. I needed a few wins on Sunday to get that lead. But that kicker, and you know how I feel about kickers. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, but you know how I feel about kickers. When you put them in that situation, it's just I just had to walk away. I just had to walk away because it's like I got a bad feeling about this. And they kept leading it up to here's the rookie, such and such and such and such. They got rid of Tucker last year, and I'm like, oh, they're setting it up. They're putting the mojo on. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, we're going to stay right there. When they come after the game, they showed that the bishop, the pope, rabbi, whatever it was spraying holy water at the end where the kicker missed the field goal. I was like, man, y'all doing too daggone much.
Really?
But yeah, that surprised me there. But I should have known in my heart when I thought this that Tampa Bay was going to raise up against Carolina. I like Carolina. I kind of built, drunk the Kool-Aid a little bit. They were winning some games, but Tampa Bay did what they had to do in order to win that game. That kind of threw me off. Detroit, Chicago. Wow. Detroit winning that game 1916. I thought Chicago was ready and they were going to take over the Lions, and that didn't happen. The Cowboys and the Giants. I tell you what, I don't want to hear it. No, I don't want to hear it. I
What
don't want to
don't you
hear
want
it.
to hear?
I don't want to keep talking about these Cowboys. They quit. You're supposed to play against that team, the Giants, for pride, and they laid down. But that's okay. Like I said, I don't expect nothing. Showed me who they were by not making playoffs. It's gonna be the same mess next year. So let's get that out the way all right now. We know they're gonna suck.
Do you
So
think somebody from the Raiders organization says, listen, we can win this game. We got the number 1 pick anyway. And I don't know if they knew or not, but I said last week, if the Raiders could mess up this number 1 pick by winning, they would. And they did win against Kansas City Chiefs.
yeah, but they still got number one pick though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
Everything
still
fell in
got it.
place for them.
Yeah, so I'm really mad at that. If you want to, I think real football players want to still go out there and compete. That's why I like Joe Burrow. And that's gonna be my final say on this. Man, seriously, the Browns beat the Bengals. Man, no
Yeah,
way in hell.
yeah. That was bad.
I knew, even on the worst situation, the Bengals were gonna win that game. And as I watch it unfold, I'm like, oh man, is this fixed? Oh,
You know what? When Miles Garrett got that sack, it kind of like, okay. He laid down,
yeah.
touched him, you got the sack. But it kind of reminded me of Michael Strahan, the way he got his against Brett Favre. And, now Michael Strahan is saying, oh, it's not legit. He did his in 17 games. I did mine in 16 games. Let it go. Let it
Yeah,
slide. Let it
yeah.
go. The record is gone. Let it go. But anyway, man, speaking of the Raiders, they are one of 6 teams that need a new coach. You got Cleveland needs a new coach. Of course, the Las Vegas Raiders need a new coach. Atlanta, Tennessee, Arizona. The New York Giants, they fired their coach mid-season, so they need a new coach. That's so far. I wanted to ask you, who's justified in getting fired out of these 6 teams and who is not?
That's a tough one. Definitely Cleveland. I'm sorry.
He needs to
That
be
was
investigated. He really needs to be investigated, bro. And not to cut you off, but there was a story that came out that remember that time where Tim McCarver and Deion Sanders had their feud with Deion Sanders through the water. I think
Right.
either the Cleveland coach is related or a son-in-law of Tim McCarver. And that would explain why he's treating Sanders that way, trying to get back at his son. And I read it, I saw two different stories about that. And I'm like, oh, okay, now it's starting to make sense. Also, the coach and the other quarterback, I forget the other quarterback name that they wanted to start. I think Dylan
Okay, Gabriel, yeah, Gabriel,
Gabriel.
yeah.
They have the same agent. They have the same agent. And he was pushing them to play that particular dude because the higher he goes, the more money. I think they said he might be sharing money or something like that. And and him being the same agent, so there was a lot of shenanigans going on, and people are saying, "Oh, he won Coach of the Year twice." That dude needs to be investigated because he was not what he was doing this year was not coaching, bro.
Yeah, I'm with you. And see, the thing is, two-time coach of the year, but then you look at other coaches that have won Super Bowls that were not two-time coaches of the year, right?
Right.
And the one thing I heard of some stats that really just kind of goes in my head when it comes to Cleveland. Stefanski was there 6 years, right? 13 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
13 quarterbacks. And even though you were coach of the year twice, as they said, you couldn't find one that would stick. But a la Baker Mayfield or somebody, and I'm not saying it was all his fault. I think that it has a lot. I'm surprised that the general manager Barry stayed put. I thought they would make a move there too, but Stefanski.
And watch him get another quarterback. Watch them get another quarterback and ruin that quarterback's career also.
Well, that's not what they need. How do you think Fernandez is your franchise quarterback this year when you had Shador and Dylan Gabriel? So you think now Fernandez is gonna come in and make it right? I don't think so.
No.
I really don't. You already have a mess. You might want to check one or two of those guys who the new coach is or something to get it right. Because I don't think the quarterback is going to be the difference for them. And in worst case scenario, you can go get somebody else. Definitely Cleveland needed to make a move. Other teams that I thought should make a move, I would also say Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's not so much the coach, but they need some direction. And I'm not sure if the general manager has something right to do. They need to get on track. And maybe it starts with the coach, and maybe they look at the general manager next. You need a fresh start out there because you have too many talented players out there, right? You got Marvin Harrison that's off the rails. Something should be going on with that. If Jacoby Brissett can come in and put life into that team with the limited resources that they had and limited direction, you need new leadership. So that as well. The others, I'm kind of torn, but those are the two that I thought made sense. And maybe, just maybe, the Raiders. But the Raiders' problems are more deeper than Pete Carroll could ever be.
Yeah, I thought the Raiders shouldn't have fired the previous coach, Pierce. They shouldn't have fired him. They should have gave him enough time to put that together. And matter of fact, he was saying in an interview that he wanted Shador Sanders as the quarterback. Maybe that was the nail in the coffin for him. The Atlanta coach, he's already been sought after by the Tennessee Titans. So as soon as he gets fired, the Tennessee Titans are like, okay, we can deal with you. I didn't think that was justified. He should have got a little more time because I'm not sure if he was the reason why they got the quarterbacks that they had, Penix and then Cousins. I'm not sure he was on that decision-making committee and doing that. That was a bad move in getting those two quarterbacks. You knew Cousins wasn't going to amount to anything in Atlanta, and I think he got put in a bad situation. That one, I think, was unjustified. But the rest of them, the Cleveland coach needs to be investigated. I mean, seriously investigated, go through financial stuff, all that stuff, because he was doing some weird stuff that was in cahoots with Las Vegas and all this other stuff, maybe some personal issues, maybe some financial issues. Las Vegas, Pete Carroll was not a guy that I felt that was going to turn that organization around. They should have kept Pierce. The New York Giants, that was mid-season. Hopefully they'll get a quarterback because they got some talent on that team. They really do have some talent on that team, but they just don't have the structure and discipline that they have with Coughlin When Coughlin was there, they had structure and discipline, which you really need in New York. Arizona, no brainer. He had to go. But I'm wondering what are some of the other coaches that heads are going to roll in the next few days?
Let me jump back on one that I didn't mention. The Atlanta coach, as you said, I don't think he deserved to be fired.
Right.
I think they needed to make some tweaks, deciding who your quarterback is going to be. It's either going to be Cousins or the other guy. And if you have to work between the two, you do what you have to do. But I think when you see guys like who I'm a big proponent of ever since he came into the league, and he was really pumped up about the coach coming back, that Drake London is for real, bro.
No
That
doubt.
wide
No doubt.
receiver is for real. I saw him as a rookie. He is for real. You have a nice running back. You have some other guys ready to step up to play. I thought the coach needed at least one more year, maybe two max. But you have to provide quality personnel along with what the coach is doing, and that comes from the GM. So I know they got rid of the GM as well, but I thought the head coach deserved more. I like, even though I don't think they played their best, but I like the way that New Orleans, I'm not stuck on their quarterback so much, but I like the way that the coach kind of got them up at times. I just think they need to adjust their roster so they can support the whole group.
Right.
I think they have talent. I just need to think that they're. I'm glad to see my man didn't lose his job. We'll see what happens. The
I'm
Jets.
yeah, I'm surprised they kept him. I'm really surprised. I thought he was the first one going. I thought, and I said that mid-season. I'm like, no, this dude is not ready for prime time. But I was really surprised, and maybe we're waiting. They said that they're going to keep him for another year.
Now, the offensive coordinator need to be gone yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. No interceptions all year, and you're a defensive back as a head coach, and you can't. Come on, man. Come on, come on. Let's go to college football, man. And this was a shocker to me. Not that Ohio State lost, but the way they were bullied by Miami. They were bullied. And then watching the antics of Michael Irvin on the sidelines, this was like, wow. I'd never seen Ohio State bullied like that. It was like they came in, got smacked in the mouth in the first half, and they didn't recover. And then the second half they tried, and then Miami just pressed their will on them again. Indiana, I expected Alabama to get beat, but the Indiana coach was like, he had that skull, like he wanted to run up 70 on them if he could, Alabama. And he used to coach there. But man, Oregon against Texas Tech, wow. These games have really been good. And I thought Georgia had Ole Miss, but Ole Miss just came shining through at the end. And they are a team to be reckoned with. It is very exciting to watch these playoffs, and you don't have the usual suspects, but you got folks. It's anybody's national championship at this particular point. Your thoughts, man?
A lot of the teams that we thought would have made it to the second round, Ohio State included, I call this Final Four the island of misfit toys. These are teams that, except for maybe Indiana, nobody thought these teams were going to be vying for the championship. You looked at the bracket, you wouldn't go, yeah, I know that Ole Miss is going to make it through. They just got rid of their coach, or the coach left them, or you wasn't going to say, oh, Miami. Now, don't get me wrong, and I don't feel like I'm being biased because I live in Columbus, Ohio. On paper, talent-wise, Miami can match up with any team on paper. The issue is in between here because you
Mhm.
never know what team you're going to get. Who's going to show up? Team that lost to SMU, whomever. This time they were fired up, excuse me, and they played right into Ohio State played right into what they were thinking. So I think their defensive coordinator went back and watched the game versus Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. He also went back and watched the game versus Michigan. And the way that you do it, I try to simplify it, not saying it always works, but for Ohio State, if you're playing Ohio State's offense, first of all, of course, you want to win the line of scrimmage. So you want to penetrate, go after them, right? You want to shut down the run versus Ohio State, which Miami did in the first half, right? Then you want to force the quarterback saying to beat you.
He looked shell shocked.
Yeah,
Even after the game, he looked shell shocked.
because when that pocket starts to collapse, most quarterbacks able to move a little bit, step up, run a little bit. And for those, he had a hell of a season. When you look at the stats, you go, oh man, he was amazing. One thing I said is, I think he was so young and immature at times that the last three games of the season, he got exposed. And unfortunately, the coaches didn't do enough in the play calling to have provide him with enough dump offs, a la tight end, whatever, where he got in trouble, he could just get rid of the ball real quick. And he turned into a little Shador Sanders for us, where he kept patting the ball and held it too long.
You know what?
And so that
I was watching that game and I put surround sound on, and Pop mentioned this too. Man, them boys are hitting hard. They were smacking. I mean, I there are very few games where you could actually hear the smacks with the hits with Miami. They were just playing so physical. It was like, are they mad at somebody or what?
well, to me, this was their championship, and the way they played is like that. So the question is, are they going to continue to evolve?
That's the question.
That I think they might have hit. We beat back the number the favorite in Ohio State. Now we got them. Now what, right? And I think when you look at saying, not to say it was all saying's fault, but I think you could see his immaturity in what happened. You think about it this way: saying passed for 3,600 yards during the season, right? 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, right? And he got sacked 16 times throughout the year. 13 of the 16 sacks happened in November and December.
Mm-hmm.
13 of the 16 sacks. Remember, November and December. That's the last three games. 13 sacks. Okay. Then you look at even more from that standpoint. He had 8 interceptions. Five of the interceptions came in November and December. And now we talk about rushing is something he's going to have to learn to work on. In the rushing department, Sam rushed the ball 42 times for a rushing total for the whole year and minus 44 yards
Wow.
rushing.
Wow.
To act as if that he was this leader, he was this great leader of this team. He was located on a very placed on a very good team inside a bubble in the machine. And unfortunately, even though he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, semifinals, whatever, I didn't agree with that early on because I don't think we really saw who he was. They went off numbers. But the last three games, particularly the last two, we saw his shortcomings. And the defenses that they played showed that. Now, he had great numbers, but that's the difference between a good quarterback, a great quarterback, and sometimes some quarterbacks have great numbers and great statistics, but when it comes to making the plays when it counts, right? This year, it just didn't happen because he was young. You ask a lot of him, not to make any excuses. You asking a lot of a guy that young to step up and lead this team like they wanted him to. It was a lot for him to endure. And unfortunately, he collectively, along with his teammates, couldn't get it done. Plus, two, with Ohio State, when things go wrong, they go south real quick.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, unfortunately, even though they were struggling offensively, defense was still hanging around holding on. But you can't have your kicker go south too.
Yeah.
Every game they lose or have lost, the kicker struggled too.
Yeah, and you know how I'm not gonna go there with kickers. I'm not. So we're gonna move on from there because
Yeah, but I'm just
yeah,
saying, when you think about that, I'm just saying that's how this has evolved for Ohio State. Everything went like,
yeah,
because you think about it, Ohio State lost by 10 points. The pick six Sam gave up
yep,
and the missed field goal.
yep. One of the things that I want to move to the next game, we expected Georgia to be in the Final Four against Ohio State. How much of the Ole Miss win is emotional, or are they that good? I'm hitting you with them questions, ain't I, baby? Hitting you with them questions, making you think.
But I like it though. I like it. I like it. So I want to say I think they're very good.
Mm.
Okay. But I want to say the emotional edge hit them because they played with a chip on their shoulder. You could
Yeah, they
tell.
did. They did.
I said it. The team, if I didn't think Ohio State was going to run it back, I thought Georgia had the team to win it all. Because the way that they played offensively and the defense that they showed later on in the season, I thought they were next. And I think Ole Miss hung for just long enough. And then they had an amazing call it lucky or a couple little plays that that quarterback used, made the plays happen. And it's almost like it was contagious that they just came together and they said, you know, we can win this. And they outlasted them. So I want to say, to me, in this situation, I think they just had a little bit more of it, the emotion to push them over the top with Lane Kiffin walking away. And I think they just wanted it more. So they outplayed Georgia on that day. If they played four more times, I probably still would go with Georgia.
Yeah.
But on that day, that time, it was Ole Miss time. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah. The rematch with Indiana and Oregon, both of them blew out their opponents. What are you looking for in this rematch? I know that Indiana had some struggles with Oregon in the season. They won 30-20, I believe, and they came out winning. And then also Miami and Ole Miss. If Miami could play like they played against Ohio State with that physical play, I'm scared of them. I'm scared of them. And I'm more scared of Michael Irvin whipping another water cooler on the sidelines and taking his shirt off. And I ain't going to assume or accuse him of doing anything, but he's a little excited. And he said he was, I saw him in an interview where they said, is Ray Lewis that same way? He was like, no, Ray always telling me, sit your black ass down and watch the game. So in the rematch with Indiana and Oregon, what are you expecting in that game?
Wow. Mike, the playmaker.
The playmaker.
Playmaker. I just try to remember the old Cowboy highlights. I try to forget everything that he does off the field. That's all I focus. When you say 88, I think the playmaker. I don't want nothing extra, the allegations,
The
all
White
the other
House,
stuff.
that's what I
The
always
pure,
think of, the White House.
yeah, you know what? I try to put that, but all I remember him is wearing that jersey and scoring touchdown. That's all I think about. But one ear, one in, one ear out the other. Anyway, but Indiana, Oregon, as you mentioned, Oregon, Indiana beat Oregon by 10 in Oregon, right?
Yeah.
So to beat them at home. What I'm looking for now is I was impressed by the way that Oregon was defense was able to shut down Texas Tech, right?
Oh,
Texas Tech was, yeah, they were averaging over 40 points a game.
yeah.
They,
They
they
skipped
were aver-
the
they
season.
were averaging over 40 yards of total offense per game. And we always thought about Oregon's offense scoring a lot of points. We never really looked at their defense to go, oh yeah, we know they're going to step up. And the way they literally shut that team down says a lot. And maybe Styles make plays, but make games, and that could have been it. But what I'm looking for now is, I said this before, Indiana is well structured. They're a good, solid team. They play football a certain kind of way. But my question now is, it's hard to beat the team two times and three times also. This will be the second time. Does Oregon have enough oomph? Do they really believe now, like, we want payback? Because we know what happened. And if their defense steps up, comes after Indiana, can they get the job done? That's what I'm looking for. And can Indiana withstand this pressure from Oregon? Because now Oregon's like, okay, and you know how Lanning is, Coach Lanning is. He's waiting for another opportunity. And he goes into his little lab and start looking at different things and figuring stuff out. And also this too's another disciple of Saban as well. So it's not like he doesn't know how to work that game too. But I'm really looking like see is Indiana ready to handle the pressure? Because now they're the favorite. They're number one. And I said this before. And granted, they might show me the way that they destroyed Alabama. They might be ready to just continue on their quest. But you're number one, right? You have a Heisman Trophy winner. And Oregon is like, we ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Before, people thought that we were supposed to be up there because they expected more of us. We've lost enough games now, and we lost to you earlier. Nobody expects nothing else to lose. So they're going to play all out.
Yeah.
So,
And the
yeah,
home teams have been, biting the dust in this playoff. It doesn't matter whether you
right,
win or
right.
not. The
And now,
the teams are winning.
yeah, and that's the other thing. We're not playing at Bloomington. It's a neutral site. So those are the questions I have with both teams. Neutral site. And then if you flip it on the other side, Miami and Ole Miss, I think Miami played their championship. And granted, they may be able to come back around and play, oh, we're ready, we now be catching fire. And that may be true, but the way they were celebrating with Michael Irvin with everything too, you thought they won a championship,
Well, Michael Irvin thought they won the championship.
right? But the way they were acting, but
Well,
Ole
they
Miss
were
on the
playing the way I understood. Michael Irvin was saying they were playing for payback from the championship being stolen from them when
okay,
they played Ohio
great,
State years
great.
ago.
But now, how do you respond? This is another game. We move to the next level. Now you got a team that. Well, how you gonna get mad at Ole Miss? Ole Miss has done anything. What's the payback then? What is your motivation? For Ole Miss is like, we got nothing to lose. And I'm saying this, we've seen Miami be as high as they can. I shouldn't use that metaphor. Be as as lifted as they can be, as a team can be the way that they play. And we've seen them on the lower end where they're low, losing games against teams that don't make sense. Because on paper, talent-wise, Miami clearly is one of the best teams in the country on paper, but they don't always perform that way. They haven't all year. And I will admit this mistake. I thought the quarterback that transferred, is it Beck from Georgia?
Yeah,
When he transferred, in my mind, I should have done more research. Always do your research, kids. I thought he was the guy that led Georgia when they won the championships, but he's not. He was the backup.
yeah,
I didn't realize. I thought this was the guy. Hey, he led them to two championships, but it wasn't. But regardless, they still were good. I just think Ole Miss is fired up, and if Miami is slipping and playing as if they've done something, I can see Ole Miss beating them.
yeah,
That's it is. LSU allows those coaches who have already signed with LSU to keep coaching them. That's another thing. Because after the game, I'm not sure if people knew this, that after the game, when Ole Miss won the game, those coaches that had already signed with LSU to go with Lane Kiffin to Baton Rouge, they didn't go back to Ole Miss. They went to Baton Rouge.
yeah,
Because the next day was signing day for, yeah.
yeah,
So that's a mess in itself.
yeah. Which could be a distraction. We never know. If Ole Miss can't rattle Beck because he looked so poised in that game, the last game. If they don't rattle him, I don't see them winning. If they don't get to him and rattle him, I don't see them winning.
Let me ask you a question though. Okay, we talked about the Miami front four, right? Everybody's talking about defense, how good they are. And we know how elusive that quarterback Chambliss is shown to be. What happens then if, let's say, the Miami front four, defensive front four, doesn't get after him when we're not as dominant as they were against Ohio State? What happens if we fall into a shootout? Who wins that game?
Ooh, that's a good question. The way Ole Miss played, and like I said, if they can, Beck is so poised that I kind of trust him a little bit more with that offense to do what they need to do. But Chambliss is he is a story. If you haven't really looked up on this guy, this is a story where he went to Division II, won a couple of championships, and then he is where he is now. They ought to do a Disney movie on this kid because nobody really does that. Usually players take it as an insult going to Division II, but he made the best of it, and here he is, a game away from national championship.
Outstanding. You're right. And that's why I threw that question at you to find out what would happen. I think those are scenarios we need to look at.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I just think that Miami has to show me that they can come back down to earth and still give the same effort.
yeah,
Because they've been up there for a while. Expectations are really high. And they're showing a little a wrinkle or potential to be great, to finish the season strong by beating Ohio State. But now the question is, how do you keep that going?
yeah,
How do you keep that going?
yeah. Let's go to college basketball. Saw a great game last week with Nebraska and Michigan State. And let's go through the top 15. Arizona still holding on to that number one spot, followed by Michigan. Michigan is just destroying teams by 30 and not even thinking about it. Iowa State's number 3, followed by UConn, Purdue, Duke at number 6. Houston, who beat Cincinnati recently, at number 7. Gonzaga at number 8. BYU, I think, bumps up 1 to number 9. Nebraska should be a little bit higher as far as I'm concerned, because I was really impressed with how they handled Michigan State. It was not easy to handle. They were keeping Michigan State off the boards, which is unheard of with a Coach Izzo team. Vanderbilt, number 11, followed by Michigan State that lost their last one. followed by Alabama, Texas Tech, and at number 15, Arkansas. Your eye test in college basketball.
Every week, it's more intriguing to me. I love it. I did see that Nebraska Michigan State game. They are gritty.
Yes.
That's Nebraska. They are so gritty. They don't care. They keep playing. When I looked at it, I was like, man, how do they keep playing? And literally, they just won as we right at the point of the broadcast, they just beat Ohio State on the road 72-69.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
So they're 15-0. They just won another game,
Wow.
which is very difficult to win in Columbus at times, and they just won the game. So Nebraska's gritty. I think they're going to do well in the tournament. The only issue for me is their size. I think if they play against a bigger team in the tournament, they may struggle a little bit. But until that time, watch out for them because they're very dangerous. I like the way that they play.
Can I say one
Looking
more
at,
thing about that game,
sure,
Michigan
yeah, yes,
State
sir. Yes, sir.
Nebraska
Yeah.
game? Is they would not allow Michigan State to get into their offense. They disrupted it all night, and I was really surprised. They kept them off the offensive boards, which is one of the ways Michigan State get their bread and butter. But it was like you watch Michigan State, and they were not they never got comfortable in the game. And I gotta give that credit to Nebraska because they were up in Michigan State's chest. And then you had the big man just hitting 5 threes in a row. I was like, knock him down or something. He's too hot out there. But he could do it inside or outside, passing, all that. I mean, they were just, they really impressed me the way they kind of handled Michigan State, which is a really, really good basketball team. But now they got to go somewhere down the road. We're going to check the schedule and play Michigan. And I want to see Nebraska, how they handle Michigan. Okay, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, no, you're fine. I mean, that's cool. But now that you brought that point up, let's think about it though. That Nebraska team is very similar to Michigan State.
Yeah.
The way that they go about it, they're smaller. Michigan State may be a little bigger, but the way they don't have anybody 6'11" or anything like that, too. They're very scrappy. They shoot the ball pretty well. They have great angles and they play hardcore defense, just like Izzo's team. So they're very similar, which I think the reason why they were able to stay close with Michigan State. Michigan's a different monster because they had the size I'm talking about. They had the athletes and they get up and down.
And they're
So
deep.
Nebraska
They're
had,
really
huh?
deep. They're really deep.
Yeah. And they're going to have to hit almost every shot. And let hope Michigan's off shooting, have some shooting woes that day. But like you said, it's going to be very interesting. Another game that I thought was interesting, we've been putting, the media has been putting Kentucky up, hoping for them to catch fire. But they got blasted by 15 by Alabama. I told you I like Alabama. I like the way that they go after it. I like their athletes. They do not quit. They may not be the best team, but they're going to give effort every time. Arkansas over Tennessee was a major win. Georgia upsets Auburn 104-100. Very interesting there. Well, I'm going to bring it up, but your UNC got popped.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow, SMU wins that game. At this point, we're starting to see the conferences come together in league play. So it's going to be interesting. But do we still see some of the things like other matchups, like the factor that Missouri upset Florida 76-74? Florida's lost 5 games already, 9-5. I think the way that they are right now is going to continue to help this team grow. They still have the talent, they still have the ability to be a nightmare matchup for a lot of teams. So I think as they grow through the season and keep going through it, they're going to get better and then they're going to be even more dangerous. But right now, they've lost 5 games in the season.
What are some of the games that folks should be looking out for in college basketball?
I definitely want to see Nebraska versus Michigan, right? Anything conference wise, I'm gonna go off that too. I saw the Houston Cincinnati game. Cincinnati gave everything that they had, okay? Everything that they had. Houston rose up with Flemings, their freshmen and whatnot. So I'm gonna start looking at these type of games. I want to see Nebraska. Like I said, they just played Ohio State. Nebraska versus Michigan. Nebraska maybe versus also UCLA, who has
Okay.
not been playing horrible as well. And then as you jump into SEC, Houston against the world. You know I love Houston. Houston against the world. But there's a lot of other stuff. I'm looking for conference play. I want to see can Carolina rise to the occasion back again when they had to face the Duke, even though they've been losing a couple games. I also want to see how does Arizona play inside the conference now, right? So I'm gonna throw one other one too. Another team that's playing well. I think it's New Mexico State. The one that has Toppin.
Hmm.
They're playing real good basketball too. So I want to see what BYU does in their conference. There's some really good teams out there. And like I said, right now, the team that is really playing lights out, Nebraska. Got to give Nebraska their love. They're scrappy, they play hard, and they're on a mission. I think they're 15-0. So Nebraska.
Yeah. Some games I know tomorrow you have Georgia against Florida, number 18 Georgia against Florida. Florida just dropped out of the top 25. You have Duke against Louisville. That's going to be a good one. You have Houston against Texas Tech. That should be an exciting game. And also you have Texas against Tennessee. You also have Arkansas against Ole Miss, Iowa State against Baylor. You got some great games. And this is a game that I want to really, really, really watch on Wednesday. Vanderbilt at Alabama.
Hmm.
In Alabama. That's going to be a great game. And I know on Saturday there are a bunch of great games coming up. Duke and SMU. You have Georgia and South Carolina. You have Vanderbilt, LSU. And I got a chance to watch the DePaul team. They're up and coming. I don't know if they're ready yet, but they're going to face number 4 UConn, and then West Virginia and Kansas is always a rivalry game. So I'm looking forward to seeing that also. Let's talk some NBA basketball, man, and give me your eye test on NBA basketball.
Right now, what's really kind of throwing me for a loop is the factor that Denver's still hanging around. They're number 4 in the West. And we know that the big fella is down for a little bit, right? So the fact that they're still able to hang around, I think Gordon's out still too. So the fact that they're still hanging around that they are with the Joker being down and Gordon being down says a lot. OKC starting to ramp it up a little bit. They lost a few games since losing only two early on.
They just lost to
San,
Phoenix last night. That was
yeah. So they're trying to get back, trying to get back. They're still showing that they're human. San Antonio still don't know if they're as good as everybody says. They're still playing solid basketball, but DeAndre Fox is playing his butt off for that team, along with other guys as too. Houston with Durant. I know y'all hating on Durant still, but man, he got them young boys playing, especially Thompson. Now they have Eason kind of in the mix a little bit. Eason and Sengun. I like them a lot. When you look at the East, how can you not give credit where it's due with the Detroit Pistons? The fact that they're number one seed is really amazing the way that it is. And Boston's third right now, with all that has happened and without their star player, they still find a way to be third. One of the shocking things for me is, and I think I mentioned it earlier, might have mentioned it last week, is the factor that Cleveland is in the eighth spot.
very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah, I said I think you gotta if you don't do it at the season at the break, they probably won't. But I think you have to look at the end of the year to move one of the big guys, and I think there's going to be Jared Allen. I think you have to keep Mobley. I think Jared Allen needs to go, and I'm only saying that not like he's horrible or anything like that. He's having a bad year, but you got to shake it up, and you need to have something else because as much as I like Donovan Mitchell as a basketball player, I think there's a lack of leadership. And what I mean by that, Kevin Durant is not a vocal leader. He plays through example, but Kevin Durant can make other people better. And I'm not sure if I'm seeing that from Donovan Mitchell. And it kind of goes off the same tangent that we saw when he was at Utah. I can give you 60, but who else is coming with me?
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but it seems like he has his girlfriend in the front row every game, and he ain't focused. Donovan Mitchell, he ain't focused. He is not focused. I, he's just not. You at work, bro. You at work. You gotta get focused, man, and help your team win. And you blowing kisses and running by, getting little googly eye looks and all that. You ain't focused, man. You're not focused, and you may be the person that they trade off since you can't focus and play basketball. I'm serious, man. I saw that. I saw a few games. I'm like, what is he doing, man? Oh, I don't dunk unless she's here. What? It's your job, man. It's your job, bro. They don't have to have you on the team. I
Yeah.
mean, but ever since then, I don't know how long he been dating her, but he ain't been focused this year, bro. You can see it. I hate to put it out there, but that's
That
what it is.
that's why I say you need somebody else. You need you need
Put
to
her in the
get
press box. Put her somewhere where you ain't looking at her after every play, trying to impress her.
I ain't mad at love, bro. I ain't mad at love. But if that's gonna be his intention and that's how he's acting, that's why you move Jared Allen, bring a couple dogs in there that's ready to play, which is gonna force his game up. Because right now, perhaps they're considering him to be the best player, franchise player. There's no pressure on him to raise his game up. It was like that in Utah. He was the man. I'm the man. I do what I want to. We got a better coach and whatnot, but I'm the man. You have to bring some other guys in there that through the trade with Jared Allen that's gonna make him accountable because that's how Cleveland's gonna rise. Otherwise, he gonna give you 55 one game and 17 the next, and they gonna keep staying at that. They like hit that plateau. But right now, this is the year, right? When you think about it, this is the year. Boston is down, Indiana's down, Detroit is coming up, but they're still working through it. This is the year. Philly is right.
And
But
ever
they're
since
going.
the Knicks won that tournament, they lost three in a row. I told you, I did, man. No,
Did they put the banner
I
up?
don't know. I don't want to know. Don't put that damn banner up in Madison Square Garden. I'm warning you. They might have to escort me out of Madison Square Garden if I ever go there, try to go up in the Raptors and take that banner and cut that banner down. Win a real championship. Sorry. That's how I feel. That's what's on my mind, son. What's on your
Put
mind,
that
son?
banner. Put that banner up, man.
What's on your mind, son?
I heard something where somebody was giving a commentary. It might have been a media type or a wannabe media type, and he talked about NIL portal, the NIL, the way it's affecting college sports. And let's just say football, right? And he talked about how the players are being some players are being put in, are being disserved. It's a disservice to certain players. So he says, do you realize that in Division I football or whatnot, that there while other people are transferring in the portal and doing whatever, they still got bills and stuff like that. They got to be taken care of. And then like 40% of the people that jump in the portal don't get offers. And he talks about, oh, they transferred and, for instance, they thought they were ready to go, but they still got bills. They got bills to pay. And there's nothing that is covered when they transfer and don't get an offer. And he's like, oh, this is horrible. It's doing a disservice. I'm like, well, okay, well, first of all, hold up. If you mad you not playing somewhere, and this is your original school, this is your third year, and you realize you're not playing, so you want to go and jump into the portal and go somewhere else. Wouldn't you secure a scholarship first before you jump in the portal? One would think you got to know your value. You got to know your worth. You got to know what people are thinking about you. Just because you think, because I'm at said school, I can jump out here and go to Bowling Green and play for Eddie George. If nobody's signing you, you LL. You can't just take a move like that because you mad because you're not playing. And then you can, but why what kind of dollars and cents does that make? You mad you're not playing, so you go over here, but you get out there and nobody really looking for you. When you could have stayed at the school you was at, still kept your scholarship, still mad, but you paying your bills. We got to be wiser. You can't just blame the system because when you jump out there, you would think that these teams and these councils that you have with these guys, with these agents and whatnot, will help these players understand. Before we leave or say we're gone, you can put your name in the portal. And when you put your name in the portal, you might say, well, I'm just want to see what's going on. And the team might take you back or they might keep you. But don't just jump out here. Oh, I'm ready to go. To hell with them. I'm packed up. I'm left going to school no more. You gotta be careful because now this is a business decision. And as a slash athlete slash employee, it is your business and your team's business to make sure that you make quality decisions based on your future. That's just what it is. So I feel for what the young man said before about it in his rant or his essay, but you gotta take care of you, bro. You can't be mad at the system because you jumped out here and thought you was all that and didn't read the tea leaves and found out really what your work was. And you jumped out there, now you got nowhere to go. What fault is that?
I was listening to a statement that Calipari made about the NIL and NCAA basketball and the current situation. I agree with him, but it's the wrong messenger. You the one that started all this stuff, man. You the wrong. Now you complaining about it. You the one who kind of kicked this stuff off, where you were doing the one and dones and all that. You were doing everything within the rules to build, championship teams. But it's the wrong messenger. I really feel it's the wrong messenger. It's the right message. Everything he said was valid. Wrong messenger. Last second shot. Let's look at Draymond Green's last 7 games. Against Phoenix, he got ejected. Orlando, he got ejected. Against Dallas, he got ejected. Against Charlotte, got ejected. Against Toronto, got ejected. OKC, they let him sit down and rest. For what? He's getting ejected for the last few games. Came back against Utah, got ejected. The Golden State Warriors are currently 19 and 17. 19 and 17. If they can win without you in any of those games, they really don't need you. Golden State, why are you holding on to them? Is my question. The last second shot, man.
It's gonna be twofold because I'm here in Columbus, Ohio. But Ohio State losing to Miami in the round, whatever they lost to, a lot of disappointment. A lot of people are pointing out that Jeremiah Smith should transfer to Miami, Florida, since they beat them and they kind of showed them who they were. First of all, what kind of sense does that make? Jeremiah Smith won a national championship as a freshman at The Ohio State University. They're just setting up for more things. No team wins all the time. Do you think he wanted to win? Was he still considered maybe the number one wide receiver in the country? Yes. So why would Jeremiah Smith go back to Miami? Have they won anything yet? And what if they don't win anything? The one thing he can say, he did win a championship at The Ohio State University. I know that bothers some of y'all, but it's real. Why would you leave when everything stuff is going on? And you think about Brian Hartline left, so what does that mean to Jeremiah Smith and the team? I'll say this to you. They just signed the former wide receiver coach out of LSU, who's known for bringing players up to the level as well, as far as NFL level. I think that's solid for Ohio State to do, trying to move forward. You also have a couple guys that are going to be coming back. And you also have Chris Henry Jr., probably the number one wide receiver in his class, coming to Columbus next year. And I think Sands going to get better. He just showed you he was immature and he had a lot to work on. But that's okay. They still won a defeated regular season and was right there. They had some slip ups. It's normal. It's how things go. I'll say this last point on that, kind of sticking with that Buckeye formula, if you will. Just saw something recently where former defensive end, CJ Hicks with the Buckeyes, out of Dayton, Ohio, my hometown, is transferring. I think maybe he's tried everything. He tried to be a linebacker, said he was too small. He was an amazing athlete in high school in Dayton. And then he got to Ohio State, and I think he got caught up in the numbers and the size. Very talented young man that can go after it. And sometimes a place like Ohio State is just not the right fit. Sometimes guys are bigger than you, stronger than you, and they just make more plays than you. And sometimes you don't get the opportunity, or it's just not the right fit. Now, with all that being said, he got a chance to win a national championship at The Ohio State University. Came back last year, tried again at a different position, didn't work out, redshirted. And now he had another opportunity to transfer, and he's now did so. Maybe a year too late, but that's okay. So guess where he's going? He found a new home, and I'm happy for him because right now, not to be too long-winded, CJ Hicks needs plays. He needs numbers. He needs to be seen. It's not always about winning the championship. Sometimes you need to go to a damn place, excuse my language, you can play and show what your worth is. So you can show the next level. Okay, we didn't win this, whatever. I remember, I think it was the linebacker defensive end. He used to play for Buffalo that was with the Raiders for a long time. And he played against Ohio State. And before you know it, based on his performance against Ohio State, he became one of the top linebackers in the NFL and is still playing. So CJ Hicks needs to go somewhere he could play. And I think he will play because he just signed with the University of South Florida and Brian Hartline. Congratulations, CJ. Brian Hartline knows who you are. You're gonna get an opportunity. Give him hell, bruh. You're good enough, and I'm glad you finally decided to get out of Columbus and shine. So shine, my brother.
Yeah, I want to add on to something like that. I saw a receiver who was like one of the fastest receivers I've ever seen. And I caught one of the other bowl games that are not part of the playoffs. His name is Brennan Thompson. He's about 5'9", 170 pounds. And he used to play for Texas Longhorns and Oklahoma Sooner. But looking at this guy, I'm pretty sure a team could pick him up in the NFL, uh, being that fast and being like one of those little receivers like the New England Patriots used to have and just get open and just cause some damage. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on Brendan Thompson because I thought he was very special in the game I watched. That's our show. We will catch you next week. Take care.